Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
But the fact remains that in the last election in 2017, the Congress itself, you talked about the BJP fielding a certain number of women candidates, but the Congress fielded even fewer.
Yes.
Only 11 out of 114.
The BJP in its election manifesto in 2014 and 2019 has promised 33% reservation for women in both houses of parliament and in state legislatures. You are in brute majority. Who can stop you from actually bringing about that legislation?
We know it very well. It is a political gimmick. We know it very well that elections are around the corner. We know it very well that Congress party doesn't have solid, concrete political ground in Uttar Pradesh. And if they are going to launch 161 female candidates in UP in upcoming elections, there won't be, I think, even a couple of them. If they win the elections, that would be good.
I'm with Supriya Shrinate, the spokesperson of the Congress party, and Anila Singh, the spokesperson of the BJP. And today we are discussing what has been variously described as a gamble, a gimmick, or a game changer. And this is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's decision or announcement on Monday afternoon in Lucknow that the Congress party is going to give 40% of its tickets in the forthcoming UP Assembly polls to women candidates. Now, whether this is tokenism or whether this is something that's going to galvanize the party and India's politics, I hope that my participants today will throw some light on this. Supriya Shrinate and Anila Singh, welcome to the Print Debates.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
So, Supriya, your first comments, your own leader has talked about this 40% tickets for women candidates. How do you think this is going to change politics in UP and in the Congress party?
So thank you for having us. And I think while Anila ji and I may disagree on a lot of things ideologically, I think the one thing that we will perhaps concur on and agree on is the need for more and more women leaders, is the need for more and more women in active politics. And I don't think any party today can shy away from the fact that mainstream Indian politics is too male dominated. It's time this glass ceiling is broken. And this glass ceiling needed to be broken yesterday, not today. So I'm glad this decision has been taken. 40% tickets for women in UP. It's a big leap of faith. And mind you, in a bastion full of men, this wasn't an easy decision to push through. But I'm glad Priyanka ji stuck to her conviction. She's in decision-making capacity as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, and I'm glad she took this leap of faith. I hope more and more political parties are going to do that. And I'm not just going to do lip service here. I'll tell you why it's important. Okay. It's important because when cases of crime happen against women, and I'm not just going to pinpoint cases in Uttar Pradesh. Yes, a Hathras happened here. Yes, a Unnao happened here. Yes, a Shahjahanpur happened here. I think those incidents will be far less brazen, will be far less brutal, will be far less in frequency if more women were in decision making. And I will preempt a question that you may want to ask later. And I will say, it is not as if there is a dearth of women leader in politics. I mean, you have two women who have, who've taken an active plunge into politics because we believe that we can be instruments and, people of change. However, I would say, if you look at the Panchayati Raj system, 30 lakh elected representatives from the Gram, the block, the Zilla Panchayat level, 10 lakh of those are women, 1/3. If you go and see the MLAs all over India, 4,120 MLAs, only 334 women. Why? Why does that 1/3 representation fall to 1/10? Because the entry barriers are way too high. And I think the first place to break down those entry barriers will be to ensure more women are given tickets. I am aware that some of them will lose. I'm aware some of them will win.
Yeah.
But all of them will become significant leaders if they contest elections on national party tickets. I hope the BJP, I hope the Samajwadi, the Basapa will take a cue from this and will come actively forward to get more women in politics. It's time for women here.
Anila ji, what do you think? Do you think that Priyanka Gandhi's decision will change politics? What about your own party? Do you think that your party could follow suit? After all, you do have a 33% reservation for women in your party as well.
Thank you, Jyoti, for inviting me. And to start with, I can say one thing here, that independent India still has to harness the potential of female gender. And for this, you really require political willpower. And I can see that type of political willpower in the Prime Minister of our country, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And if I talk about Uttar Pradesh, the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji, for them, for both of them, women issues are on priority. Their upliftment is on priority. Their empowerment is on priority. And they have taken several steps to empower them. And, if it is not only women can get empowered if you are giving tickets to contest. There are several verticals on which you have to give an opportunity to women, right? If you talk about Ujjwala, when you provide her with a gas chula so that she doesn't use wood as a fuel, and or you give her a toilet, or you give her a home in her name. There are several things where you can empower women. And if I talk about women entrepreneurs, we talk about Make in India, Skill India, Mudra Yojana, where women are being benefited by easy loans and opportunities. So I want to say here, yes, please.
No, you're right, Anila ji, you're absolutely right. After all, the Prime Minister's initiatives like the Ujjwala Yojana, which gave gas connections and primarily aimed at the women voter, those were very, very popular, and not just in UP, but across the country. But the question is that why is the BJP not giving women the opportunity to participate in electoral politics? I mean, in UP, for example, in the 2017 elections, you only have, I think the BJP only had 46 women candidates out of the 384 that it fielded.
See, this is the raw, cruel reality, not only of my country, but I think pan-world. Women are not given enough opportunity to come in front and be an active politician and show their worth that yes, they can contest and they can be a super policy maker. Somehow, what to say, it might be insecurity in the men's mind. But this is the reality, whether I talk about any of the political party in my country, women are not given that much of opportunity. So that is why when, when many of the channels, they asked me, how do you take this announcement of Priyanka Gandhi? I said, I welcome it. I totally welcome it. At least she has announced. We know it very well. It is a political gimmick. We know it very well that elections are around the corner. We know it very well that Congress party doesn't have solid, concrete political ground in Uttar Pradesh. And if they are going to launch 161 female candidates in UP in upcoming elections, there won't be, I think, even a couple of them, if they win the elections, that will be good. But at least she has announced. But the thing is, I would have preferred, I would have welcomed it, that if the decision would have taken from heart, not from the brain. So it is the mindset of getting media spotlight. That is why, this announcement was done. And we know it very well. Priyanka Gandhi has a huge political stature. She comes from a very prestigious elite political family, and she can influence Sonia Gandhi ji as well to announce this step for other election bound states as well. But we don't see that. And one more thing here, Jyoti, in yesterday's press conference, Priyanka ji, she said, "Mera bus chalta to main isko 50% karti." Abhi 40% kiya, kyunki she mentioned about some hindrances. So कुछ लोग रोक रहे हैं उनको. So what is the guarantee that in future, if he really wants to take women ahead in a political party, hypothetically I'm saying it, then when people are stopping her right now, what is going to happen in the future?
Sure, let's talk about all these issues. But Supriya, talk to me about this decision itself. What is it that that Priyanka was announced a decision like this? I mean, after all, it is a game changer inside your own party, where women have been sort of pushing the envelope, and men have not allowed them to do that.
Before I answer that question, and I want to answer that question because she did not begin talking about it during elections. She's been talking about this for several months, if not years, and this is something very, very close to her heart. And the reason why I work very closely with her on this is because this is something extremely close to my heart as well.
And how are you able to persuade the people in your own party? I mean, of course,
that's exactly what I'm going to. That's exactly what I'm going to answer. Just bear with me.
Sure.
I want to though answer some of the points that Anila ji made. She says the political willpower is important. Absolutely, it's important, ma'am. You are absolutely right that the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh can really push the envelope on this. The BJP in its election manifesto in 2014 and 2019 has promised 33% reservation for women in both houses of parliament and in state legislatures. You are in brute majority. Who can stop you from actually bringing about that legislation? But in the last almost 7.5 years, we have not heard the word women's reservation. So first things first, in UP, Jyoti, you pointed out a number, 46 women fielded. I think almost 33 or 34 of them actually won on BJP tickets. So the strike rate was 70%, and that's very, very good. I congratulate the BJP.
But in your party,
let me just finish. I congratulate the BJP on this. With 34 or 35 women MLAs of the BJP, you still could not find one to be cabinet minister in UP. There are 2 MOS who are women. There is 1 MOS with independent charge. It's a 60-member council of ministers, not one cabinet minister in UP. You talk about Ujjwala, ma'am. There are 3.2 crore Ujjwala connections that have not taken a refill since they've been given a connection because prices are at 1,000 rupees per cylinder. Anyways, enough of that. I do think Priyanka ji was very honest when she admitted, I wanted to do 50%. I could get consensus on only 40. Please understand. And I hope that breaks another myth that politics can happen with an upper hand. She is General Secretary in charge of Uttar Pradesh. She has influence and decision-making capacity here. She's got to take the UP Congress on board. And mind you, the UP Congress is full of men, just like the BJP or the SP or the BSP. And they're not going to cede very easily. She still could push through 40%. Hats off to her. And this has happened with consensus. This has not happened because she could push through on her own. She got people on board. Yeah. And she's at 40%. As far as, the decision why it's been taken now, I think it's been on her mind for a while. She's been talking about it. It particularly precipitated when she went to meet the Unnao victim or the Hathras victim, or for that matter, the number of women she's met across Uttar Pradesh, because I think the one sea change that we are seeing in women all across the country, including Uttar Pradesh, is women are no longer willing to sulk, to grin and to bear it all. They want justice. Even if they're raped, they want to fight for justice. They don't care about the consequences that they will face, that they will be burnt alive. And I think these are the women who need to be empowered. These are the women who will benefit from more women in political stream. So when we say, women empowerment is not just about politics, let men say that, because men want to say that. Men want to keep us away. Women and more women, and I urge you, Anila Singh, you should start talking more about women in politics. Absolutely, it's going to make a difference when the policy makers are going to be more women, when they will have a say on the table, when they will have a place on the table. They don't have a place on the table so far.
But Supriya, I think your point is very well taken. The fact that if there are more women in politics, they will fight for greater justice, whether political justice or social justice. But the fact remains that in the last election in 2017, the Congress itself, you talked about the BJP fielding a certain number of women candidates, but the Congress fielded even fewer, only 11 out of 114. So what has Priyanka Gandhi done? So give us a flavor of the opposition that she must have faced within the party.
So I don't think the opposition was apparent to begin with, because who in their right minds would want to oppose women entering politics? It's not the right thing to say. It's morally wrong. But I think the opposition was more, the opposition was more in principle by men. What is going to happen to male candidates who have so far been in constituencies and worked there? And I think her whole point was not just getting women elected, but by giving tickets, you are empowering 40% of your candidates. Please understand, I come from a rural constituency. I work in a rural constituency, Maharajganj. अगर वहां पर एक औरत विधायक का चुनाव लड़ेगी ना, तो वो फोन उठाकर किसी भी थाना प्रभारी को एफआईआर ना लिखने पर फोन कर सकती है. आज अगर वो चुनाव नहीं लड़ती है, उसकी कोई हैसियत नहीं है, वो ये काम नहीं कर सकती है. This is the difference. This is the sea change. I think the opposition was more not with the idea, but with the number. They all thought 40% was way too high. They thought, why not 33? And she said, if I'm taking a leap of faith, I want to go for 50. Okay, let's arrive at 40. having worked with her for a while now and seen how she can convince people, I am reasonably certain this number is going to go up. You are absolutely right. We fielded less candidates in 2017. I wish we had fielded more, but somebody's got to make a beginning, and we have to applaud when that beginning is made. You know, you've got to correct some wrongs, and we are correcting a wrong in Indian politics. This is, if you actually ask me, this will be the turning point as far as Indian politics is concerned, not just for the BJP, SP and the BSP. There will be Congress states who should be inspired from this, and they will take a cue. They will have to take a cue, because women will start demanding their position under the sun.
Right. Anila ji, आपको याद होगा 10-15 साल पहले लोकसभा के अंदर these famous statements by Sharad Yadav ji, for example, who said कि परकटी महिलाएं जो हैं पॉलिटिक्स के अंदर नहीं आ सकती, और इतना जो औरतों को जो जलील किया गया था, मैं 15 साल पहले की बात कर रही हूँ. In today's Uttar Pradesh, do you feel that the time has come for women like yourself to step forward to demand that more women should enter politics? और जब आप लोग इस तरीके की बात करती हैं तो आपके सामने क्या opposition आता है?
You are absolutely correct. If we talk about the controversial comments from the politicians, yes, they are not only shocking but very insulting as well. Whether it was from Digvijay Singh ji's Taj Mahal or Jaiswal ji's Purani Sharab or Nayi Shadi, you know, all those things. I mean, absolutely deplorable, I can say, not at all in good sense. And I think no woman took it in a very good humor. Yes, you are absolutely correct. If I talk about women in politics, we are in nano numbers, and especially the bold women like Supriya ji or myself, the women who have got their own mindset, we can speak that mindset. Perhaps such women are not even encouraged because it is male-dominated arena. They feel very insecure from women. And I can say one thing here, but because, you know, I did a campaign also of politician. Politician is women in politics, women politician. We want more and more women politician in our country. And I mean, if we women like Supriya ji or I or Priyanka ji or other good female politicians, if they are going to encourage women and set an example that right, you come, it's not that dirty. If you more and more women will be there, I think more transparency, more efficiency, less corruption will be there. So they will be encouraged. But the thing is here, Jyoti ji, मैं आपको एक चीज बताऊँ, मैं मार्गरेट थैचर जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनी थी उधर यूके की, तो मिलने गई थी, वहाँ की क्वीन से मिलने गई थी, और क्वीन ने बोला कि भाई आप यू आर द फीमेल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, फर्स्ट फीमेल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, एंड यू शुड हैव मोर एंड मोर वुमेन इन योर कैबिनेट. एंड शी सेड कि नहीं, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि विमेन जो है बहुत इमोशनल होती है एंड दे कांट टेक द राइट डिसीजन. And you know, the Queen was pretty shocked by her statement. The reality is, if I talk about right from Priyanka Gandhi to Mayawati ji in my state, I mean, just check the cabinet. वहाँ आपको औरतें दिखाई ही नहीं देंगी. अब तो जब आप अपनी पार्टी के साथ, जी, जब आप अपनी पार्टी नेताओं के सामने, जैसे जेपी प्रेसिडेंट नड्डा या पुराने प्रेसिडेंट अमित शाह जो होम मिनिस्टर हैं, जब आप लोग women politicians जब उनके सामने जाते हैं, तो what do they say कि किस तरह के obstacles आपके सामने खड़े हो जाते हैं? Bharatiya Janata Party is one political party where I have seen the women, you know, respect is given, lots of respect.
But in that case, if respect is given, then why are there not more women in politics? What do they say?
That's what I am saying. I was the one, as I told you, that I started this campaign, that politician, women in politics. We want more and more women in politics, women politicians. And this is the reality of politics, not only in India, pan world, that women are not being encouraged to come in front and tell, yes, we can contest and we can get elected and we can be a very good policy maker as well.
Right.
So definitely, I think when we talk about women politicians, we all women politicians in my country, we are on the same platform. Yes, we want more representation in parliament or in assemblies, and we can do good.
You know, there are so many women leaders across the political spectrum, whether it's Mamata Banerjee of the TMC, you have Mayawati in the BJP, former Sushma Swaraj, God bless her soul. Inside the Congress party, there are women like yourself. But somehow, when it translates itself into into posts, for example, except for Mamata Banerjee, who's been chief minister now for some time, but for some reason, women never really are able to reach the top, to get the top job.
No, I disagree with you. I think, while gender representation is very important, merit also counts. And I disagree with you there. I think, women have made it to the top, whether it was Jayalalitha ji or Sushma Swaraj ji or today Mamata Banerjee ji, Sheila Dikshit ji. I mean, we've had a woman chief minister in Uttar Pradesh, Suchita Kripalani, in the 60s. So Uttar Pradesh should actually take a leap of faith much before any other state in the country. My heart goes out to Anila Singh ji, who is saying that yes, she agrees with me, there are more women who are required in active politics. You've got to ensure, because the first entry barrier is उनको टिकट ही नहीं मिलता है. ये प्रतिबद्धता दिखाइए, टिकट दीजिए, लोग आएंगे. मैं एक चीज और कहना चाहती हूँ. I think everybody talks about multitasking, better administrators. When you've got to sign a file, when you're in that executive position, your merit, your judicial, everything will count. I think what women bring to the table, and this is a very underrated quality, is empathy. I think what they bring to the table is compassion, because I've seen Priyanka Gandhi far too closely in politics, and I've seen men also. She brings, or most women bring, more empathy and compassion to the table. I think these are two virtues that have completely devoid our politics today. Our politics today is very, very masculine, very aggressive, if I may say, borderline abusive. It's very abusive. Look at the kind of narrative, look at the kind of words used in politics.
What is your own experience? What has your own experience been, Supriya, when you fought the Maharajganj election and you lost? What has your own experience been?
Like she said, I think I agree with Anila Singh here. I think we come from places where we've never had to pay a price or never have been held back because of our gender. And which is why I don't think there was a difference between me contesting and a man contesting. And I think I speak from a position of privilege. I was born and raised by parents who never thought that I am any less than my brother who they were raising. And I think I come from that position of privilege. But if you look at victims, if you look at women who want to be a part of politics, they don't have that kind of privilege. I mean, yesterday Priyanka ji was telling me a story about a woman who was denied that her daughter will be sent to school by her in-laws. And she used to hide, and वो साड़ी का फॉल लगाती थी 100 रुपए पर, और जब उसने पैसा इकट्ठा कर लिया तब उसने अपनी लड़की को भेजा.
I'm going to stop you right here, Supriya, because the Congress leadership today, whether it's Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, or Priyanka Gandhi, they're all in such huge positions of privilege that I'm not sure that they are even, sort of the situation on the ground is something that they must work with. But the position of privilege that they come from, it's this noblesse oblige question that constantly drives the Congress leadership.
So, Jyoti, even if they are in a position of privilege, I think we need to applaud a decision that they are making. Being in that position of privilege, they can be comatose and take no decision. Look at the decision that she has taken. I'm not advocating for this simply because I'm a Congress spokesperson or I've worked on this, or, I feel for this. I very strongly as a woman feel. And when I met those number of women who were there yesterday when this announcement was made, and the kind of hope that I saw in their eyes, I mean, a lot of them who were probable candidates will perhaps be candidates now. A lot of them who believe that there is no glass ceiling that they can break. Today, they realize that if they work hard in their constituencies, if they engage, if they are on the ground, they will perhaps be MLAs tomorrow. I mean, this is the hope that we've given to women in Uttar Pradesh. I hope more parties and I hope more states, including the Congress states, will be inspired by this. I think, to mire it in controversy is doing great disservice to a decision that has been taken, which really speaks volumes about women's empowerment. This is not empty talk.
Okay, Anila Singh, two questions to you. The first is that, do you think that the Congress party is doing this because it doesn't really have very, very much hold on the ground, whether it's in terms of caste combination or otherwise? So they're trying to sort of use the women candidate to sort of leapfrog over all these issues. That's the first question. And I'll ask you the second after you answer this.
There's absolutely no doubts about it that this is simply a political step which Priyanka Gandhi has taken. And as I mentioned earlier, that elections are around the corner. This is nothing more than political gimmick, and people of Uttar Pradesh, they understand very well that if you, when you do not have any sort of political ground here, and you really have to work very hard to prepare it, And Priyanka Vadra ji has to prove her worth in politics because she was not able to save her brother's seat. She was politically in charge in 2019 as well of Uttar Pradesh. So she has to get that type of confidence built up of people living in Uttar Pradesh, which she doesn't have. But I really hope that in future, and I hope good for her, that she keeps on working hard and she proves that yes, she is here for the women of UP, not only of women, but for this country. And one more thing here, like Supriya ji mentioned about empathy, like if more women are there in politics, so एक सॉफ्टनेस जो होती है कोई भी चीज को सॉल्व करने की देखने की वो बढ़ेगी. यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट सुप्रिया जी, बट द थिंग इज दिस थिंग इज टेकन एज एन डिसएडवांटेज इन पॉलिटिक्स कि अरे आप बहुत ज्यादा इमोशनल हैं, ये डिसएडवांटेज इन पॉलिटिक्स लाइक और डिसएडवांटेज
अनिला जी.
नहीं सुप्रिया जी, मैं अपनी तरफ से
डिसएडवांटेज ही एडवांटेज बनेगा.
नहीं, आई एग्री विद यू, आई स्टैंड विद यू.
ये पार्टी को
I stand with you. I totally agree what you have said, and I know कि harsh words use करके आप कोई चीज को बहुत अच्छी तरीके से at times you have to be harsh.
तो एक एग्जांपल दीजिए ना अनिला,
but not always.
अनिला जी एक एग्जांपल दीजिए, ये जो इमोशनल वाली जो आप बात कर रहे हैं that women are emotional, इसका एक एग्जांपल दीजिए. आपको किसी ने कुछ कहा इस बारे में?
नहीं, मुझे सुप्रिया you also mentioned this thing, the type of family background we come from. That I mean, nobody can take advantage of us and nobody can say anything. Okay. We are here with our own rules and conditions. So I mean, I'm pretty sure, Supriya ji, like we do respect our seniors, but yes, we have got our own Lakshman Rekha also, and we don't allow anybody to cross that Lakshman Rekha. So I haven't faced this thing, but usually in politics, pan world, if I talk about it, women are more emotional. They take it, अरे ये तो भावनाओं के साथ है ना, कहाँ सही डिसीजन ले पाएंगे. पॉलिटिक्स तो बहुत क्रूअल चीज है. ये वो, I think that is the insecurity of men which speaks out. We women, we can handle better. Yes, when we have to be emotional, we can show our emotions. And yes, when we have to deal somebody with the strong hand, we can do that as well.
Yeah, Supriya, go ahead.
Can I make a very small point? You know, somebody brought to my notice, and I think this is worth talking about, that every page of the UPSC examination notification that comes on the footnote says government strives to have a workforce which reflects gender balance and women candidates are encouraged to apply. We want more women in our bureaucracy. We want more women in our executive. But when it comes to politics, in government, in actually making those laws, we want to restrict the entry.
But why do you think?
The glass ceiling needs to be demolished.
No, but why do you think?
Because I think it has been a male bastion, because I think it serves the purpose of men to guard that bastion, and I think politicians will have to take a strong will to break that bastion, and I think that's what Priyanka Gandhi has started the fight with, and I hope many more people will follow suit.
So it's about the exercise of power, isn't it? That men want to continue to exercise power. But the question that Anila raised, and I think it's a fair question to you, Supriya, which is that while you may give 40% of your seats to women candidates, are you prepared to lose all of them?
I wouldn't say all of them will lose their elections.
Are you prepared to lose a majority?
I'm sure there will be some who will win. I'm absolutely sure there will be some who will lose. But please understand, in this bargain, you will end up creating leaders in their constituencies. Any woman who contests an election like an assembly election, on the ticket of a national political party, becomes a woman or becomes a candidate of relevance. She cannot be roughshod over, and I think that's going to be the big achievement out of this. I have absolutely no doubt that there will some who will win, some who will lose. But we've got to make a beginning. Just because there is a fear of losing, we cannot keep our cards close to our chest, sit on our haunches and say, "Arey bhai, haar jayenge to mat karo." अरे आपको leap of faith लेना पड़ेगा, करना पड़ेगा. 2021 में नहीं करेंगे तो ये कब करेंगे?
Anila, you have the last word. Do you believe that women...
It's my party's decision. Ideally, I should have the last word, but I'll...
That's why Anila in the opposition should have the last word. But do you believe, Anila, that women politicians, whether it's Mamata Banerjee, Jayalalitha, Sushma Swaraji, or your own party leader, that they have reached high positions in politics, but have not really been able to change politics?
See, that is the reality. As I mentioned earlier, women, in commanding positions in politics, they have not encouraged their women workers in their own political parties. This is the reality. And the reason is, as Supriya ji also mentioned earlier, like Priyanka Gandhi, when she took the decision that like 50% tickets will be given to the women candidates from Congress party, she had to face some sort of resistance from male position holders in Congress party. So that is the reason, I think so, because it is male dominated.
But
so
do you think inside the BJP, are you women politicians also fighting for this?
See, as I mentioned, not only as a BJP spokesperson or a BJP worker, but I think so every woman who is in politics, they have appreciated this announcement of Priyanka ji. And
but inside your party, I'm saying inside your party, are you fighting for this?
Fighting for this? See, at least I can say about myself that whenever I get an opportunity, I definitely encourage women. I definitely encourage women that yes, you come in front and do and give your word. See, usually, I'll just take 10 more seconds here. Usually what I have heard is, अरे और तो आपस में लड़ती रहती है, इनको कोई क्या करो, you know, ये सुनने को मिलता है. And I always say कि आप इतनी सी ओपनिंग दोगे औरत को, और उस औरत को आदमियों के साथ भी लड़ना है और अपने आप में भी कॉम्पीट करना है, तो आप कैसे कहते हो कि वो लड़ाई करती रहती है? आप ओपनिंग ही नहीं देते हो, मौका ही नहीं देते हो. But definitely all those politicians and political parties who do not want women to be in politics, announcement which has been made by Priyanka Gandhi, I mean, it has ruffled their feathers. There is some sort of, कहते हैं ना, सुबगाहट होनी शुरू हो गई है कि भाई उन्होंने ये बोला है. So I really welcome it, and but I really hope that she continues this effort. ये केवल lip service ना हो, वो वाकई में मेहनत करें कि औरत जो है आगे बढ़े. Because we didn't see this thing happening in Indira ji's tenure or Sonia ji rolling again. She had
ज्योति जी, सुखबुगाहट राजनीति में जरूरी है. ये जरूरी है, ये सुखबुगाहट हो. अगर ये सुखबुगाहट नहीं होगी तो हम 20 साल बाद भी इसकी बात करते रहेंगे. We will never walk the talk. ये सुखबुगाहट जरूरी है.
Well, it's a good thing that, you know, that at least the Congress party has made this kind of a proposal that's forcing the other parties, hopefully that the other parties will be forced to rethink their own politics. But the point remains that the women's reservation bill has still not been passed in Parliament, although I have to say
in the BJP's court, they've got brute majority, they can go ahead and pass it. I urge you, Anila ji, start a campaign within the party. Let's get the women.
Your party has not raised it either, Supriya. You may have
in the last 1 year, both Rahul ji and Sonia ji have written letters to the Prime Minister stating their unconditional support to this bill. It's the BJP that has to bring it to Parliament. I assure you from this platform, they will have our unconditional support on this.
Anila ji?
I really wish Rahul Gandhi ji or Sonia Gandhi ji, they come up with a private bill. At least it will be very much assuring. They are demanding.
You've got to walk the talk. Aapke manifesto
come up with a private bill as well. But anyhow, I mean, I do not want to argue on this. As a woman politician, definitely I would like to see more and more women in the parliament or in assemblies, whether it is through reservation for women, 33% reservation for women, or it is an internal policy of any of the political party to give 33, 30, 40% tickets to women, whatever.
Well, we'll have to leave it there, but I think the Congress party position is right on this front, which is that the women's reservation bill in Parliament can be passed by the BJP. You do have a majority in the House, in fact, not just in this term, but in the last Lok Sabha as well. But we hope that this will at least create that the Congress decision will force other parties to rethink their own politics. Supriya Shrinate and Anila Singh, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for inviting.
Thanks very much. Thank you.